Greetings, parents and students of St. John's Academy. I wanted to take a few minutes today to just go over assessment and reporting practices at St. John's Academy, Shawnigan Lake. So the agenda is, today I would like to speak about the purposes of assessment, summative versus formative assessment, what criterion-based assessment is and why we use it. I want to talk a little bit about the MYP criteria in each subject, the MYP report card, and briefly talk about ManageBack and how you can navigate ManageBack and expectations in terms of use for parents as well as students. So the purposes of assessment in the MYP. So the International Baccalaureate, or the IB, says that the aims of assessment in the MYP include supporting and encouraging student learning by providing feedback on the learning process, to inform and enhance and improve the teaching process, to promote positive student attitudes towards learning, to promote the development of critical and creative thinking. Ultimately, what we want students to do here at St. John's Academy is to develop a growth mindset and always think about how they can improve upon their scores in each subject area, and by providing students with specific criteria in terms of what success looks like, we believe that is completely possible for all of our students. So assessment in the MYP is something which happens throughout a unit and helps both the teacher and the student on their learning journeys. Assessment helps us reflect on what we have learned and helps us to set goals for future learning. It is not something to be afraid of, but something to guide us. So assessment happens throughout a unit of inquiry. Each subject has a set number of units each year, and we call those units unit of inquiries. Each unit has formative as well as summative assessments that take place. So assessment happens at the start of each unit. We call these diagnostic assessments. Some different forms of diagnostic assessments that we've played around with this year were pre-assessments at the very beginning of the year, as well as our MAP growth testing, which has just recently taken place. But it happens at the start of the unit, so teachers know what their students know and can tailor their class to them. It happens during the unit to check on students' new knowledge and understanding. Students will get feedback on formative work and help them grow as a learner in the unit. Formative assessment takes many different forms, including quizzes, discussions, or just quick exit tickets at the end of a lesson to check to see students understand what is happening and what is taking place. As well, importantly, assessment takes place at the end of each unit, where students complete what's called a summative assessment. This is a final demonstration of what it is that they're able to do in relation to the assessment criteria. So students will do a summative tasks which show the sum of their learning. This usually happens at the end of the unit, aside from some subjects like design, where it happens at the end of each criterion. So formative assessment is used throughout a lesson to help gauge students' progress, inform adaptation, and to focus instruction. Whereas summative assessment is used at the end of a lesson or at the end of a unit, and it can do everything that formative assessment does, but it evaluates students' performance. It encourages reflection, it helps structure discussion, and it informs future development for both student as well as the teacher. One important thing to understand for our students, as well as I think it's important for our parents to understand about how grades work in the MYP, is that we want students to be focused, not necessarily on the number, but focused in terms of how they can improve. But when we do get to grades, it's important that students understand that grades do not reflect who they are as a learner, but where they are in their learning journey. And where is always temporary. We're always trying to move our students forward on that journey of learning while they're with us. Every subject within the MYP, or the middle years program, has 4 criteria, and each criterion is graded out of 8. So for instance, in design, criterion A, B, C, and D, criterion A is inquiring and analyzing, criterion B is developing ideas, criterion C is creating the solution, and criterion D is evaluating. Here are the 4 set criteria in all of the subjects offered within the MYP. So we have language acquisition, which is our French, language and literature, which is English, individuals and societies, which is social studies, sciences, mathematics, arts, physical and health education, design, some interdisciplinary learning. So these are tasks and projects done between subjects, as well as the personal project. So you can see the different criterion for each subject. So let's have a look at criterion A, inquiring and analyzing for design 6. So all students are given the set criteria for their subjects. The reason why this is given to the students, of course, we want to be clear and transparent from the outset in terms of how they're going to be graded. So when students are given an assessment, a teacher will say that this is being assessed against criterion A and criterion B maybe, and then the teacher and the students will look at exactly what that criterion specifies in terms of what it is that they must do. So from here we can see that it's split up into 4 bands, the 1 to 2, which generally indicates the limited, 3 to 4, which generally indicates the adequate, 5 to 6, which is competent, and 7 through 8, which is sophisticated. I think it's important for our students to understand that to achieve level 7 and 8 in their subjects early on in the school year is not something that's easy to do. Obviously, that's something that all of our students should be striving towards, but that is not necessarily a realistic expectation from the outset at the beginning of the year. But some students may be able to get there by the end. So this is a criterion A for design 6. If you would like to see all of the assessment criteria in one place, if you go into ManageBack, if you're a parent, you go into ManageBack, go to Files, and you'll see the MYP assessment objectives and criteria, and you can check out all of the assessment criteria for each grade level in each subject. So it's a one-stop shop there, and I can show you how to navigate that towards the end of this presentation. So the assessment criteria, the table gives a clear indicator of what your design teacher will be looking for in criterion A. It also gives you clear expectations so you know what you're expected to do. However, when you look in detail, you notice that there are just a few words between the grades, including a switch from states to outlines to justifies. We do not leave that to students to figure out for themselves the difference between those words. We have definitions for these terms. These terms are called command terms, and we explain to our students what the difference is between state, outlines, and justifies. The command terms are also published for students to see, and this is something that we work with students throughout the year to move them towards, to try to figure out what exactly is required for them to move up into the next band. So why do we use criterion-based assessment? First of all, it communicates set criterion and descriptors of different levels of achievement to students, helps them understand at what level they're performing, helps students understand what they must do in order to excel and in order to improve, provides a sense of objectivity to the assessment process, as there are concrete descriptors of student work. This is very different than schools that use percentages or letter grades, where an A may not necessarily be an A across the board. There's no sort of objective criteria that's being used to assess the work. Within the MYP, it's much more objective and much clearer for students as well as teachers in terms of what a student must do in order to achieve a certain level. It helps to focus students towards key skills in each subject area. So the 4 criteria are based on 4 skills in each subject, and ultimately it's focused towards student mastery. Students are assessed according to the same criteria from grade 6 to grade 10, and that doesn't change. Some of the language change, but the skills remain the same, and ultimately we want our students to really be focused and have the ability to master each skill in each subject area. I've linked a video here, and you'll see this in the presentation that's on ManageBack. I've linked a video here that just gives an overview of MYP assessment criteria in 3 minutes. So the types of reporting here at St. John's Academy, Shawnigan Lake, we have 2 different types. Coming up towards the end of October, we're going to be publishing what are called the interim reports. These interim reports really only report on student effort in each subject, as well as student academic achievement in each subject area. As well, there will be a reflection from the student, as well as a written comment from the advisor. Report cards, which take place 3 times a year, I believe it's taking place the end of November, end of March, and then the end of June. Report cards are a different matter. You will see each student will have an achievement level, so a number on each of the 4 criteria in each of the subjects. Each subject has about 1 page of written description in terms of that explains at what level the student is achieving. As well, it will also include a report card comment from their subject teacher, just explaining what needs to be done in order to continue to improve in that subject. So progress reports are relatively straightforward. Report cards include a lot of information in terms of where the student is actually at in terms of their progress on the criteria. So we use ManageBack here at St. John's Academy to allow parents as well as students to track their progress, to submit work, to see upcoming deadlines, and to contact teachers, and to also track their calendar. I will quickly just show you what this looks like from a parent perspective. So I'm currently logged in right now as the parent of our Bart Simpson. When I log in, I'm able to see all of the different subjects, and I can simply log in, click on one of the subjects, and I'll see some of the tasks that have been submitted and some of the grades that have been given. Being that this is a fake student, there's no graded work, but you will see grades with grade descriptors over here. As well, you can see some of the different assignments that students are being asked to complete. So if at any point you want to see what work is being done in any of the subjects, you can just simply go in and click on the subject, and you'll be able to see some of the different assignments that the student has been asked to submit. In terms of report cards, those will be published here in reports. The first coming up in October will be the progress report, and it looks a little something like this. So I'll open it up just to give you a brief look at what the progress report looks like. There'll be a letter from myself, just a general outline of the MYP program, a quick description of the IB learner profile attributes, as well as the summary of achievement. You will see effort level descriptors and achievement descriptors here, and there's a rubric at the bottom that helps explain what these levels are. So effort may be outstanding, good, unsatisfactory, or significant concern. The academic achievement, again, are broad categories of exceeding expectations, meeting expectations, approaching expectations, or below expectations. This is just a quick snapshot midway through the term to allow parents to see whether their students are achieving at the level that we want them to be achieving, or that we feel they should be achieving at. You will also see a reflection from your child as well in terms of the skills that they're working on in class. In terms of a report card, that's quite a bit different. It looks the same from the outset. There's a general overview of achievement, but once you get into the class reports, you'll notice that there's a set level out of 8. So the maximum is 8, and this is the level, and this is a description of what this 5 represents in relation to the criteria for that subject. So if you want to know what Bart or what your child can do, or in this case Bart can do in relation to analyzing, it says here Bart competently analyzes the content, competently analyzes the effects of the creator's choices on the audience, and so on and so forth. So it gives a description of what the student can actually do. In order to develop a plan in terms of improvement, it's always good to look at the next level of descriptors, grade descriptors, which the students have. And you will have that for each one of the subjects that your student is in, which is 8 subjects. One other thing I want to point out, if you go to the file section here, you'll be able to access this presentation, which I'm giving to you right now, and the PowerPoint deck. You'll also be able to check out the student and parent handbook. I have last year's handbook posted there now, but by the time you see this, you will also see the 2020 to 2021 parental student and parent handbook, which explains, gives a general overview of each of the subjects, as well as explains a little bit more in detail our assessment procedures and some of the other policies. It includes our schedule and other things like that. Back to the presentation. So You can also use ManageBack as a calendar. You can access ManageBack obviously through the link that has been sent out to you initially, but you can actually access it through the school as well. If you go to our school website, go to academics, right down at the very bottom of that drop down, you will see that we have a ManageBack login page. And that is all I have to share with you today. If you have any other questions, please feel free to contact me at any point. I'm usually quite available. Email is usually the best way to contact me. But yeah, have a wonderful day.